Hello everybody, welcome to this episode. Today we're going to be talking about driver's licenses and motorhomes. So what driver's license do you need to drive a particular motorhome? I know this issue has come up for many years already. I've been in the industry for 27 years and I've had this argument with people and with traffic officers many a time. The fact of the matter states that the regulations, the National Road Traffic Act regulations, are pretty clear on what driver's license you need to drive a particular motorhome. And I thought, let me go through it today. I will explain you my interpretation of the Act. I am absolutely no law expert. I am no National Traffic Act expert. I'm the last person that will say I know everything. But I do believe that my interpretation of the National Road Traffic Act when it comes to the driver's license type needed is correct. And I've yet to have a conversation with somebody that has proven otherwise. So let's get into it. Again, if you don't agree and you have a different opinion, email us podcast@motorhome-world.com and we'll have a look at it. Right, National Road Traffic Act. I've actually got the Act in front of me here on my desk. I'm standing on my desk today just to have this conversation with you. The talk. I thought, let me knock this out. Right, National Road Traffic Act. I have the latest edition here. The latest amendments are all included. And I'm going to go to Regulation 1, which is the definitions. Chapter 1, Regulation 1, definitions. In there is a definition for a motorhome. So it's there. So if somebody argues with you, what is a motorhome? Just refer back to Regulation 1, definitions. I'm going to read it to you. Motorhome means an enclosed motor vehicle which is designed or adapted solely to live in and which is self-propelled. So this definition was inserted many years ago, and it's pretty clear. We can have an argument on what is solely to live in, but I think that's besides the point. You know, does it include a bed, a bathroom, shower, a kitchen, toilet? But that's not the point. I think the point for today is, if you are driving a motorhome and you're on holiday, you're going to have all of that with you. If you have a Discoverer, any of our Discoverers we make at Motorhome-World are classified as motorhomes. That as well, of course, it needs to be correctly registered and licensed, but that's a separate argument, people. Today we're talking about you as a person. What do you need? What driver's license do you need to drive the vehicle? We're not talking today how your vehicle should be registered or licensed. Whole different ballgame, whole different argument, and we can make that another episode to talk to you about that. So today is purely about you. What license do you need? So yes, we have established there is a definition and Regulation 1, there it is, which is important because this obviously, when we go further into the other regulations, it talks about motorhomes and it talks about goods vehicles and it talks about buses. So there's all descriptions for those, there's all definitions for those. But we have a description, a definition for a motorhome, which means it's clearly defined. Right, now, the actual license you need is written in Regulation 99. So Chapter 5, Regulation 99, talks about the category of driver's license you need for a class of motorhome, for motor vehicle. For a class of motor vehicle. And they're all broken up into A1, B, B1, all of those codes. They're all broken up. So the one that we're interested in is, of course, your B driver's license. Most of you will have an EB, which means towing capacities are higher than a B, but a lot of you will have a B license. So with the B license, you can read, and I'm going to read it, but there's a lot of exclusions here as well. You know, a motor vehicle excluding a motorcycle, a motor tricycle, a tractor, a haulage tractor, which I'm just going to ignore now because it's not applicable to us. So, code B, a motor vehicle being 1, a motor vehicle including a motorhome, the tare of which does not exceed 3,500 kilo. Or 2, a minibus, a midibus, a bus or a goods vehicle, the gross vehicle mass of which does not exceed 3,500 kilo. And then it talks about trailers, which we're not going to go into now. So the fact that for a code B, it actually specifically mentions a motorhome makes it very easy for us to understand and interpret what is actually being said here. If you have a code B license, you can drive a motorhome, the tare of which does not exceed 3,500 kilograms. The tare of which. Now we need to just talk about the difference between tare and gross vehicle mass. Because line 2 talks about the bus and the minibus, of which the GVM, which is the short for gross vehicle mass, GVM, gross vehicle mass, does not exceed 3,500 kilo. So there's a difference. Again, tare has a definition in the National Road Traffic Act, and GVM also has a definition. So the one we're interested in, of course, is tare, because it says here a motor vehicle, including a motorhome, the tare of which does not exceed 3,500. So if I go back to regulation or definitions, just find it here, it will talk about tare. Let me find it quickly. Here it is, tare. And again, I'll read it for you. In relation to a motor vehicle, means the mass of such vehicle ready to travel on a road and includes the mass of, and then it goes down into A, spare wheels, any of all accessories and equipment supplied by the manufacturer as standard for the particular model or motor vehicle concerned. So basically all spare wheels, everything that manufacturers like us fit to the motorhome as a standard has to be included in the weight. And then B, anything permanent part of the structure, for example an awning. And then it goes on to structural parts and accumulators and things that really don't apply to us. It also actually states it excludes fuel and not anything attached. So in broad strokes, what it means is a standard empty motorhome with everything that you need to travel on the road, without all your luggage, without water, without fuel, without all your food and everything you take with. So as empty as you can make it. That's the tare. So if that vehicle of yours, the tare is less than 3,500 kilos, 3.5 ton, you can drive your motorhome with a code B license. There's no ambiguity, I don't even know how to pronounce that word. There's no gray area. It states it. If the tare is below 3.5, you can drive it. So normally the tare is printed on your license disc. That will say what the tare of your vehicle is. So that's normally what you would go to. But again, I'm not going into down the whole argument of registration and licensing. But yes, that's the tare of your vehicle. So you could have a massive motorhome. If the tare is below 3.5 ton, 3,500 kilo, you can drive that with a code B. If it isn't, of course, if the tare is above that, then you'll need the next license up, which is the C1, which means the tare of which exceeds 3,500 kilo, as I was reading earlier. Again, pretty clear. I've not had anybody arguing or proving a point that changes my mind. It is very simple here. It's you as a driver need a code B to drive a motorhome if the tare does not exceed 3,500. The GVM is something different. It is what the vehicle is allowed to weigh in total after you've packed it. So that's something that they use at weigh bridges. They look at the GVM of the vehicle, the gross vehicle mass. That's what the manufacturer says. the entire vehicle is allowed to weigh before you overload. But that, in this case, has got nothing to do with the driver's license. That has to do, in this particular case, with the vehicle, if you overload the vehicle or not. So, yes, PDP is also something that comes up, Professional Driving Permit. So that is dealt with in Regulation 115, Part 4, Professional Driving Permit, Regulation 115. I can read it to you. There's a couple of things that don't apply to us, but let me read it. It says, subject to the provisions of Sub-Regulation 2, which we will get to, a professional driving permit shall be held by the driver of A goods vehicle, the GVM of which exceeds 3,500 kilo. It's a goods vehicle, it's not a motorhome, so that doesn't apply. B, breakdown vehicle, doesn't apply. C, a bus. D, a minibus. E, a motor vehicle used for the conveyance of purpose for reward. None of that applies to a motorhome, so none of that need a PDP for. Now we're at F. It says here, a motor vehicle, the gross vehicle mass of which exceeds 3,500 kilos, to which sub-regulation 273 to 283 apply. Now, a vehicle, regulation 273 to 283 deals with hazardous goods, transport of hazardous material and goods. So, you don't have a permit for transporting that, so you don't need a PDP for a vehicle which excludes 3,500 kilos but is applicable to hazardous goods. So again, this doesn't apply. G, a motor vehicle conveying 12 or more persons, doesn't apply. Okay, now we get to regulation 2, which has to do with exemptions from a PDP, people that don't need one. And now it covers stuff like a traffic officer, examiner of vehicles. It talks about a person driving a hearse. It talks about persons driving a motor vehicle relation referred to in sub-regulation 21, which I can go into, but I'm sure it is not applicable to us. If it is, I will add it in here. And then tractors and all type of stuff. Everything in Regulation 115 shows me you don't need a PRDP, a professional driving permit, for driving your personal motorhome. Nothing in here. So again, if they stop you next to the road and they go, your vehicle needs you need a PDP, or you need a different license, and you've got everything we just spoke about, and you are a Code B drivers, and your tear of your motorhome is under 3.5 ton, you can have the conversation with him. Ask him to show you in the National Traffic Act, which I believe he should have in his car somewhere. He should have a copy of the National Road Traffic Act. And you can point him to those regulations and go, please explain to me why you see that. And maybe you can convince him. Or pointless arguing and changing your demeanor. We're stuck with it. There's nothing we can do about it. Fight it later. But yeah, it's a difficult one. But I believe my interpretation is correct. And yeah, I have been stopped in my lifetime, and I've had talk, and I've never received a fine. I've always had, okay, you can carry on. But yes, that's it as far as I know. If there's anything you didn't agree with, or if there's anything you want to add, please write us an email, podcast@motorhome-world.com, or for that matter, any other topic that you would like to wish us to cover. Please let us know. In this type of format, I believe we can do a lot in a minimum amount of time. And like I said, I'm standing on my desk. It's taken me 15 minutes of my time to explain items that I've learned through the years, and it's not much. And if I can do that to make you a better person in the motorhome, if I can make you enjoy your motorhoming, or maybe you're thinking of joining motorhoming lifestyles, then this might do it for you. Again, thank you everybody, and remember to subscribe, get notifications for the next episode. Enjoy the rest of your day.